What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ariel if you didn't know. So today's video is going to be all about how to basically book your clients, how to get over that step of actually getting trained, and once you're done with that, you already got that done, you're now ready to get yourself some clients. You're on the road to booking your first client, but you're like how do I do that? Do I just like text them? Do they text me? How does this whole thing happen? So I am gonna break that down for you right now. Okay guys, also another thing, I have so many things to talk about today. We have a giveaway going on at Flourish, on Flourish's Instagram right now. So we are giving away 10 trays of lashes. If you guys want to know more about that, head over to Flourish Lash's Instagram page. I will leave that in the description as well, and go ahead and enter because that's an amazing giveaway. Okay, I am so sorry. Please excuse my background today. Things are changing. I am in a transition period right now. And like I said in my last video, you guys are going to love the next few videos I have coming up. So stay tuned for that. Definitely subscribe. You're gonna love the next few videos. So don't mind that. Okay, so first things first, you have got yourself trained, you are ready to go, you got yourself your supplies, you've practiced, it is time to start taking clients, and you know what, you got yourself on Instagram, you're ready to go, someone messages you, and now you're like, well, what do I do? Like, do I just text them back? Do I just send my address? No, you don't do that, because you can't just send your address to random people like that, especially if you're lashing from home. Don't do that. I have seen a lot of people, even for me, like I have gotten my lashes done and people are just willing to just give their address out, and you don't know who you're giving your address to, so don't do that. When I first started doing lashes, this was actually one of the trickiest things. I thought that it was going to be so simple, but it was not. I didn't realize that you actually have to think about like how you were gonna book your clients, and like how do you actually get a system going when you don't have anything. So I'm gonna give you guys some tips. First of all, there are booking apps you can use. There are booking apps that have specific like characteristics or specific things in them that allow you to book spa services, salon services, such as hair, such as nails, such as lashes, anything like that. So there are tools out there that you can use. Okay, so there are different booking apps you can use. There's like Squarespace, there's Fresha, that's the one I use. There's a bunch. I'm gonna list a few in the description below, and then you can kind of do your research on them. But there are a lot of booking apps that you can use. I know for a fact, this actually happened to me. I've heard it from somebody else that when you start doing your service, whatever it may be, I get it. Like the first thing you think of is I can't get a booking app because people are gonna say, or they're gonna see that like I'm like open and my calendar's open, and they're gonna think that I'm not professional or I don't have clients and I'm just doing this for fun. But I kid you not, people don't think that. People actually don't think that, oh my god, this person has so many availabilities, I'm not gonna trust them. Like that's not a thing. So it took me a while to even figure that out, because I actually thought that myself. I was like, I am nowhere near getting a booking app because I am just not there professionally. I don't have the clientele. Like it doesn't make sense. So I waited like a year, or even no more than that. Like I just got a booking app like maybe like 2 years ago. And I was like, okay, yeah, like it's time now. I can totally get myself a booking app because I have a clientele that will make my calendar look full. But that doesn't matter. Like it has nothing to do with it. Getting a booking app is the best thing you can do for yourself because it keeps you organized, and it actually builds your brand, because it's a sense of professionalism when people go to book for your services. So first things first, get yourself a booking app. They are free. There's a lot of them that are free. Some of them are paid. Some of the things that they offer may require a subscription or a paid service or whatever the case is. But I know, like I said, I use Fresha and it's free. There's nothing that I need to use on there to pay monthly or anything like that. And it does the job for me. Like I said, get yourself a booking app, and then you have that client or that potential client that messages you, that DMs you on Instagram. We're gonna draw this back to Instagram because I feel like that's where people usually get their clients in the beginning phase as well. So we're gonna say that you got your first DM on Instagram, that client is inquiring, they wanna know what's up, they actually just wanna book with you immediately. Let's go with that example. You do not sit there and like book them in and just like, hey, like, okay, so you can come tomorrow, my address is this, 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 and this. That is just not the way to do it, because you wanna kind of build a little bit of a relationship with that person before they come in. It's an overall service you're creating, and it's an overall experience that you want them to feel. So personally for me, I mean, this comes with like trial and error and 100% experience at this point, but I realized that like when you start talking to a potential client and you start having a conversation with them, it just kind of like opens up that gateway for conversation, and like they're more likely to remember you. They're coming in like feeling positive, they're excited. It's just good energy coming into your space, and that's what you want. You never want a sour taste in someone's mouth, especially when they're gonna come into your space. Okay, so your client DMs you. She says, hey, I want to book an appointment with you. How do I go about it? I have two different options you can go about this, or there are two different options you can go about this. So when I first started doing lashes, I actually would have people message me, and then I'd start building a rapport with them and be like, okay, great, what are you looking for? What do you want? Have you had lashes before? What type of styles do you like? Like, give me some info so then I can like figure out what you're looking for. And then you have people that just are like, hey, like, can I come tomorrow? There's different types of people, and there's so many different tones of messages that you're going to get. Like, this is such a common thing. I get it today. It's the way it is. You have really nice people who DM you, and then you have some really bold, upfront people who DM you, have no source of like, I guess, common courtesy, that just say, hey, like, how are you? Or it's not even the how are you? It's just like, hi, can I get such and such information? Or like, hi, I would like to book an appointment with you. That is enough for me. The hi alone works, but some people just like to message you and just say, don't even say hi. They're like, I need an appointment, or I need to come to you tomorrow, and you don't even know this person. So these are things that you need to expect, and you can't shun them away. You almost have to like turn the situation around. Like, I've had clients where they message me and I can already tell off the bat they're being really, really forward and really, really bold and upfront. And like the thing about text is there's no emotion behind it, so you can't necessarily read how the person is saying it, even if they're maybe not saying it in a rude way. So if someone messages me and they're like, I need an appointment for tomorrow, I'm like, hi, how are you? Great, like, what are you looking for? You know, you try to have to like circle around it and just kind of switch the conversation, because then sometimes some people are kind of like, oh, okay, I'm good, how are you? Like, whatever. But then you also have those people that are just like, I don't care, like, I need an appointment, and you gotta work with it. It's up to you whether or not you want to take that person, but generally speaking, sometimes people aren't necessarily how they sound on text when they come in. Some people just don't know the tone of texting, and you can't blame them for that. You just have to make sure that you're taking your proper precautions. So back to that. So once you get your client that's messaging you and saying, hey, like, inquiring about information, sometimes they'll message and be like, hey, like, how much is this set? How much is that set? You can go ahead and say, it's such and such, like, it's $60, $70, whatever it is, and then you kind of let them know, like, this is what your service will include. And then you can always ask, like, hey, have you had lashes before? Are you familiar with eyelash extensions? Because in that way you know how much information you actually need to give, because you never want to just book somebody in and have absolutely no idea whether or not they've had lashes before or not, especially in the beginning. I feel like once you're experienced, it's not that hard. You can kind of gauge whatever the person's dealing with when they come in. But at the beginning phase, they expect you to be the professional, and you're still a beginner and you're still learning. So it's something that you can't just assume everybody knows about eyelash extensions. The more you know in the beginning phase, the easier the service will be for you. So that way when they do come in and you already gave them a bunch of information, such as aftercare, retention, what to expect during their service, they're actually more loyal to you, because they love that you're giving them that upfront education, that upfront I guess, like, just being open and honest with them. Especially when you're new, you want to say, like, hey, like, it's gonna take X amount of time. Definitely don't leave that out, because that is where you get an upset client when they have to sit there for 6-7 hours and they expect it to be there for 2. Do not do that. Make sure you're being upfront. Make sure you're telling them time-wise how long that your retention should be, letting them know if you're a beginner and they understand that, and obviously your price needs to reflect that. But these are all things that you need to kind of discuss in that beginning phase, because you don't want them to come in and be surprised, and then that'll just ruin your business before you even start. Okay, so you had this rapport going with your client, you start talking to them, and then you're like, you know what, hey, like, you want, they start saying like, okay, yeah, can I want to go ahead, I want to book an appointment with you. You're like, great, good job, we're ready to go. Okay, so what date do you want? Then sometimes, or even before you say that, sometimes people throw out a date, throw out a time, and then that's where you go ahead and say, hey, this is my booking app, I can send you the link, and then you can go ahead and pick your time and your date for your availability for whatever I have open. The reason I like to do this is because that way, I've had conversations with people, especially in the beginning when I wasn't doing the booking app, and honestly, it was so complicated having to go back and forth with people, because then you're like, okay, this time doesn't work for you, this time works for me, okay, this time works for me, doesn't work for you, and then you got to keep going back and forth day and day, and then things change, and it's just such a pain, and you want to eliminate that process. You want the process of booking with you to be as hassle-free as possible, because you want it to be, again, an experience. You want it to be an easy street. You want it to have a smooth transition. You want that whole process to be super, super simple for your client. All those things, they add up to your service. So once you do all that stuff, first, personally, for me, I still don't give you my address yet, because again, I'm home and I don't want people coming to my house if they are not an actual client. So what I do is I actually ask for a deposit. You can go ahead, find your availability, find your time on the app. Then you book it, I get the notification that says you've booked an appointment, and then I send you my e-transfer information and you send me back a deposit, and then that is when your appointment is confirmed. So this is not something I did in the beginning, it's something I do now. I've learned the hard way, because I've definitely had some shady people on Instagram that don't use Instagram, and they've kind of messaged me and I've gotten weirded out, and I just didn't know if they were real clients or not. And I have like one particular person who I really think was not a client, and when I did ask for a deposit, they fell back a little bit, and it was a really weird experience, and I really don't think that person wanted lashes. So thank God for deposits, because it really filters out some people, because no one's gonna pay you if they're not serious. So that also eliminates your no-shows and all that kind of stuff, because I know in the beginning, or even after, even when you're just an experienced lash artist, no-shows are the biggest pain in the butt. I've had my fair share of no-shows, and I really try my best not to make people pay deposits, especially when I have like regulars. But even after that person comes back maybe twice, and then I'm like, hey, like, don't worry about the deposit, like, just come, that's when they message me and say, hey, something came up, I can't show up. And then you're like, okay, well, I've been sitting here for 20 minutes waiting for you and nobody was saying anything, and you get upset at that point. So the way to eliminate that is totally from deposits. These are the best ways to book your clients, and when you're starting all these things from the beginning, you get yourself a really good system and a really good routine, and that way your clients and future clients know what to expect when they message you. These are all things that I experienced through trial and error, and I'm really trying to eliminate that for you so you don't have to do the trial and error. Just get this done right at the beginning. It just will make your life so much easier. Another thing I want to talk about, specifically with deposits, I know this is a thing too, and I, again, experienced this myself, is when you're in the beginning phase and you're not getting that many clients, and you're like, okay, this one person messaged me, I really want them to come, I really want them to be a client of mine, I want to get some money, I want to like do the service, and then you say, hey, like, send me a deposit, and then they're hesitant on that, I know that in that moment you want to be like, no, like, don't worry about the deposit, just come. But there's a reason they're hesitant on that deposit, and that could mean that they're not serious. And you may think like you're losing out on a client, but you might not be, because you can literally carve out this time for this person, change your entire schedule to accommodate them, and they just don't show up. So don't think that you're actually losing a client when you're asking for a deposit, because adding that deposit actually brings you quality clients. It's not necessarily all about the quantity. You want to make sure that you're having those quality clients coming into your space, specifically your home. That is so important. When you have your studio in your home, you want to be very, very careful on the people you bring into your home, because I strongly believe in energy, and like, I don't like when negative energy is entered into my space. It can really mess up my whole day, and I'm not here for it. So pay your deposit, come here with your positive attitude. Okay, so that is really it for booking your booking your clients. Once you get that deposit, now you want to make sure that you're following up with that client. So once they pay their deposit, you send them, hey, a confirmation. Usually at this point, when they book their appointment, I now transition from Instagram to text messaging, because when they book their appointment, they have to put their phone number in. And I think that just gets a level of personability, and like kind of just giving it off that, not that like stranger vibe on Instagram. It's like, hey, now we're like client lash artists, you know what I mean? So at this point, I'll message and be like, hey, like your appointment's confirmed. I'll send you the rest of the details the day before your appointment. So let's say I have a client that booked like 2 weeks in advance. I personally still don't feel comfortable sending them my address 2 weeks in advance. I would rather send it to them 2 days before. I mean, you don't want to wait last minute, because obviously they got to get there and timing, and they want to make sure that they're able to get there on time. So I'll send it like 2 days before, and I'll send a confirmation with that and just be like, hey, just confirming your appointment for this day at this time. Here's the address, blah, 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 blah. Just let me know, right? And then they'll usually message back and just be like, hey, thank you so much. Yes, we're good to go, whatever the case is. That just kind of, for me, I think that's really important, because I just feel more comfortable sending it later. But then also when you send it later, then you also have that window to reconfirm with your client, right? Because you can confirm a week before. I've had this where regulars I've confirmed with prior to their appointment 2 weeks, or not even 2 weeks, like a week before, that they booked that time, they booked that date, that exact spot through their convenience. And then the day comes and they're like, oh my God, I had something else to do. And like, you're sitting there like an idiot just waiting, and you're like, okay, well, I guess you're not coming. And then they want to reschedule, and at that point I'm just like, do I want to reschedule you? So these are all things you have to expect being a service, especially when you make your own schedule, when you have clients messaging you directly. And honestly, a lot of these times, these things happen when you're at home. People seem to take more advantage of you when you're working from home than working at a salon. They're less inclined to cancel, no-show, all that kind of stuff when you're in a salon versus being at home. It's a crappy situation, but it's true. And these are just things we have to deal with. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys a couple examples. So these are some conversations that I've had with my clients. Okay, so these are some clients that I've had. This client particularly, I've had her not a really long time, but I've had her for a while, and she's definitely a regular of mine. I absolutely love her. And I just want to show you like how some different conversations go. So she had actually booked on my booking app before, and then I didn't know her or anything at this time. This was like pre-pandemic, and I just had my booking app open. Anyone could go in there and book their appointments, and then I would message them and confirm and all that good stuff. So she actually just responded to a picture that I had posted, and then I kind of realized like, hey, I think I have this girl for an appointment, checked out the information, name matched, and I was like, you know what, let me like start a conversation with her. So I went ahead and I was like, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. And then I reiterated like, hey, you have an appointment next week. And she said, yeah. And then we kind of had a little conversation. And that way she was like, she kind of got an impression of me. I was friendly, like we had a friendly conversation. It was great. And then at that point, because we had a good conversation, we were both excited for her upcoming appointment. So that's what I'm talking about when I say like building a relationship before you actually have your client come in. Because at the end of the day, you guys are two strangers, and you want to kind of have like that comfort level before they actually walk in, so that way they're more like inclined to be more comfortable, be more open. I mean, don't forget, these clients are laying on your bed for however long with their eyes closed in a very vulnerable situation, so you want to make people as comfortable as possible. Okay, and then at this point, I also had my booking app, but this girl messaged me and she was like, hey, I'm looking for such and such set, and she was looking for a time right away. She didn't have very many questions initially. I think she actually messaged me a while back and asked some questions, and then she was ready to book at this point. And then I did a quick little blurb with her because I knew she was ready to book and she was already asking me about dates. So I just went ahead and sent her my booking app immediately, so that way she was in that momentum to book, so I just let her book right away. That way I was more inclined to actually get her as a client instead of taking my time and sending it later on. You just might as well send it at that point, because she started talking about dates. Okay, and then this is another example. So this girl actually still wants to know about, she asked about pricing, and then she actually sent me a picture of one of my clients I had already posted, and then she was giving me, like she just gave me an example and she was looking for pricing, all that stuff. I definitely did let her know what the pricing for those specific lashes were, and then we kind of had a little conversation, kind of talked to her about like what she should expect, and then she wanted to know where I was located. I generally, so this is what I was saying, like in terms of location, when people do ask, and I get it because they want to know where you're going or the general area, I actually give my main intersection, and I would say like my city, but and I would give like a landmark. So there's like a plaza near me, so I'd be like, oh, like I'm right by this plaza, just so they know like kind of like the direction they're aiming for, and like they'll kind of know timing, especially if they're local. But I just wouldn't give my specific address as yet. I was actually trying to find one where I didn't have the booking app, like a really old one, but I actually couldn't even find like a super old one. But the way the old ones would go would really be just like me having a full conversation with them in that moment, and I would just kind of be like, okay, like what are you looking for? And then the problem I was having with not having the booking app was that once I did start to get a little busy, I actually had the problem of not being able to, I guess, like schedule my clients on time. I definitely had some issues with like scheduling where I double booked and I didn't even know. I remember specifically one time I had actually booked somebody for a Saturday morning, and this is obviously before my booking app. I had booked someone for a Saturday morning, and then that person actually canceled. So I was like, okay, cool, like whatever, they canceled, I was fine with it. And then next thing you know, the exact same time they were supposed to come, I had my doorbell ring, and I was like, what the hell? And then it was one of my clients. And the problem was that I didn't check, or I guess I didn't put it in my calendar, that this specific client had actually booked through text while the other client booked through DM, and I didn't write it down right away. And that's another problem. If you're taking clients or you're taking bookings and you're not putting it in your calendar immediately, that's when you start to get issues. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful. I hope that like I didn't ramble, and I hope that you guys actually were able to retain some information, and I hope this helps when you're starting and you're looking for that first client and you want to know how to book and the whole process of that. I hope this laid it out. These are some things that definitely helped me, some things I've learned along the way. My biggest tip is get yourself a booking app. Doesn't matter where you are in your lashing career, your service career, get yourself a booking app to save your butt. Okay guys, that is it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with something new. Also, I do want to say that if you guys have any questions at all, definitely feel free to put them in the comments. But if you guys want to actually get me, definitely DM me on Instagram. Some of you do, but if any of you have questions, go ahead on my personal Instagram. It's always in the description below, but you can always DM me there, and I think I'll have a better chance, you have a better chance of getting me there than on YouTube. I try my best to get back to everybody, but I can probably get back to you faster on Instagram. So DM me through Instagram if you have any questions at all. Okay guys, that is it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with something new next time. Bye!